Hello everyone, I am super excited to be here to share this video with you guys. I'm going to be playing Voyage of the Dead. It's finally been released. It's been delayed a couple times, and actually it was going to come out early, then they changed the date again, but anyways, it is released now, and I'm going to walk through the first level with you and show you how to sync everything up. So a quick tip, when you first get the system, you'll plug in a web camera or the IR station and you'll point it at the TV. It has a cord that is 9 feet long and it needs to be as far from your TV as the picture image. So if you have a 65-inch TV, the camera needs to be 65 inches away from the screen, and you'll see that it wants you to move the camera around. It is a little bit laggy when you're moving it, so you have to move it very slowly. Once you line it up, it will lock in, and you'll see that calibration is completed. Now, instead of the gun actually reading the TV, it's kind of going in reverse, so the camera is actually looking at the image and then acknowledging where the laser from the gun is showing up on the screen. So you can kind of think of it as though the webcam is almost like a projector, so if you get in the way of it reading the image, it'll get confused and won't know where your gun is pointing. Anyways, I'm going to start with the story mode and just kind of walk through the first level. I'll play a little bit slowly so that you can see just sort of how the game actually looks, and so that I can kind of talk as we play through. It takes a little bit of time to load. It's not the fastest game, and when you're playing, I feel as though there's a lot of blur in the game. It almost doesn't feel like a Xbox One game. It almost feels like an Xbox 360 game, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. You start off, you can actually choose a couple different characters, and each character that you choose will actually have different dialogue as you play through the game. So if you shoot the character, you can see you can be a fisherman, the marine, and then there's other characters that you can actually unlock. Each one has a special like alternate weapon. So I'm going to actually go with the marine here. I'm going to choose the character. If I had other players, they would be able to join in here as well. And I'm actually going to be playing from the side, so you can actually play kind of from different angles. Right now, because I'm recording the audio, my headset is plugged in. It's got a short cable, so I'm actually fairly close to the screen, playing from the left side. Now the gun, I'm actually a little bit disappointed in the gun itself because there is no rumble feature, there is no recoil, so there's no actual tactile feedback when you shoot, but it does actually feel nice with the audio. So somehow it's the sound of the gun that kind of makes it feel like you're actually in the game playing. I wish there had been a rumble feature or a recoil. Hopefully in the future they'll sell other guns with more options. This gun also has the ability to know where you're pointing, or kind of like gyroscope, so like if you shake it, it knows it's being shaken. So there could be a game where you have it kind of in a holster at your side and it expects you to lift the gun. In this game you'll see it'll request that you shake the gun if somebody grabs you. Unfortunately, because there is no recoil, it doesn't really feel like you're being held, or there's no real feedback when you're shaking the gun. So I wish there was, again, a rumble feature or just something to really make it feel like you're involved in the game. Here, I'll skip this for you by pushing the rear button.
Zombies? Ah, you've got to be kidding.
So when you play, really, you want to do headshots. You'll see in the beginning that there's a lot of kind of blur when it switches scenes, and it's hard to really stay in the action sometimes. You'll see at the top there's a counter. There's like a skull with a blue X behind it. That's actually counting the streak. So I gotta reload. So throughout the game, you'll be trying to save people, much like you did back in the day in Area 51 or Time Crisis.
Bingo! Pop goes the weasel!
Now, if you don't get headshots, you will blow off hands and arms and things like that. but it you almost don't notice because there's just so much going on.
That's how it's done. Practically proficient.
And now it does have a score multiplier. I believe that takes into effect at the end of the level. You'll see maybe a score, so we'll look for that.
Let's go, Shuffles. Get some.
And there are lots of things in the background that you can shoot to get special bullets or more ammo.
Yeah. That's how it's done. That's a lot of blood. Oh, God damn it.
And there is, at the end of the level, a little meter that tells you how many people you saved, how many headshots you got. Actually, it says critical shots, which I believe is just headshots. See, it lagged, especially like if you get an achievement, or if anything else happens in the game, if you get an invite, the game kind of slows down and lags a bit.
Popcorn isn't going to get the job done. I need my grenade launcher. Good thing I checked it with my luggage. Okay, all clear. Time to evac.
So there are just a few buttons on the actual gun itself. There's the trigger, and then there is the button on the rear
Down for a minute.
that lets you pause the game, and also lets you skip.
Up goes the weasel.
Actually, to pause the game, it has you use the calibrate button or the sync button. So if I push the sync button, it takes me into the menu. I push the sync button again, or just pull the trigger, and it'll resume. One thing that is worth mentioning also is the trigger has no actual feedback either. So there's no click. There's no physical. You can't really feel the trigger, which was annoying at first, but is almost a good thing because your hand does get tired when you pull the trigger a lot. And I think maybe having that physical click or resistance might make your hand get tired faster.
Another round? Sure. Let's go.
So there's the end of that stage. And now it will show me the XP I got, the accuracy kills, and then the score at the bottom. So I guess that multiplier does impact that there. I do actually need to adjust to that. The button on the rear that your thumb can reach up and press, that doesn't pause the game. That actually will switch your weapon. You carry two weapons, and that will switch between usually the special weapon that you've got, or if you found a weapon like a shotgun, it'll switch between that and your pistol or whatever two guns you have. So there we have it, the first stage.